Have you ever felt like you were trapped in a game where the rules kept changing? Where no matter how much kindness you showed, it was never enough? Narcissists are master illusionists, spinning webs of charm, deception, and manipulation to keep you entangled. They thrive on your confusion, feeding off your emotions like a parasite, draining its host. Picture this. Narcissists are masters of disguise, wearing the face of charm, confidence, and charisma. They captivate with their grandiosity, yet their need for constant admiration is insatiable. Contrast that with an empathetic soul who sees others as equal partners, sharing love and kindness without expectation. Empathy is a gift, but when paired with a narcissist, it becomes a tool for exploitation. They twist your caring nature into a weapon to serve their own ends. Narcissists, unlike empathetic individuals who seek to lift others up, are predators, hungry for admiration, attention, and validation. They manipulate to get what they want, using lies, charm, and guilt as weapons. But what happens when they come up against someone who isn't afraid to challenge them? Someone who won't buy into their deceit and makes them face the truth? In this video, we're diving into 7 powerful ways to make a narcissist miserable with practical strategies they absolutely hate. And stay tuned, because I'm about to share a single question that can shatter their illusion and leave them exposed in ways they never saw coming. Ready to take control and turn the tables? Let's dive in. Number 1, ignore them completely. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy. Marcus Aurelius. A narcissist's power lies in their ability to provoke and control others, feeding off reactions like a parasite clings to its host. Like a shadow that vanishes when the light is turned away, their influence fades when ignored. They thrive on emotional turmoil, anger, adoration, even fear, each reaction affirming their importance. But when you refuse to engage, their carefully constructed illusion of superiority begins to crumble. They may escalate their tactics, throwing insults, guilt-tripping, or even resorting to love bombing in a desperate attempt to regain control. Yet the more you withhold your attention, the more their grip weakens, forcing them to confront their own emptiness. Epictetus taught that we cannot control others, only our own responses, and this truth is the key to dismantling a narcissist's hold. They bait you, expecting you to react, to plead, to prove yourself. But when met with silence, they flounder. They are performers without an audience, kings without subjects. Each time you refuse to argue, ignore their provocations, and walk away from their games, you deliver a wound far deeper than words ever could. Their entire existence is shaped around validation, and when you refuse to provide it, you force them into an unbearable state of insignificance. True power lies in restraint, a lesson the Stoics mastered. Seneca advised that anger is a form of temporary madness, and nothing pleases a narcissist more than watching you descend into irrationality. They seek control through chaos, manipulating emotions to keep you ensnared. But by maintaining an unshaken composure, you disarm them completely. Indifference is a language they do not understand, a force they cannot counter. The more they push, the more they expect retaliation. Yet when faced with a wall of silence, their own instability is laid bare. Their attacks become meaningless, their voice lost in the void of your indifference. Narcissists fear irrelevance above all else. To be ignored is to be stripped of the very essence that fuels their delusions of grandeur. Marcus Aurelius urged that external events should not dictate inner peace, and this principle applies perfectly when dealing with a narcissist. Your detachment forces them to sit alone with the very thing they have spent a lifetime avoiding, themselves. Without an audience to mirror their false brilliance, they are left with nothing but their own inadequacies. And nothing torments a narcissist more than the realization that they hold no power over you. Your silence is the loudest statement you can make. It is the ultimate rejection, the undeniable proof that they no longer matter. They may rage, sulk, or scheme, but it is all in vain. The less you react, the more they unravel, left stranded in the emptiness they so desperately fear. By ignoring them, you reclaim your peace, your power, and your freedom, fulfilling the Stoic wisdom that the greatest victory is not to be like your enemy at all. Number 2, set firm boundaries. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. A narcissist thrives on control, weaving an intricate web of manipulation to ensnare those around them. They demand admiration, compliance, and emotional submission, but their greatest frustration comes when their target refuses to bend. To exercise power over your own mind, as Marcus Aurelius advises, is to starve the narcissist of what they crave most, your emotional energy. Setting firm boundaries, both physically and psychologically, is not just an act of defiance, it is an assertion of self-respect. The moment you stop reacting to their provocations, you deny them access to your inner world. A narcissist cannot tolerate the loss of influence, and when their usual tactics fail, they are left floundering, unable to dictate your thoughts or emotions. Indifference is an unbreakable shield against narcissistic manipulation. Unlike anger or retaliation, which still acknowledge their power, indifference is the ultimate rejection of their significance. When you cease justifying your choices, defending yourself against baseless accusations, or engaging in their cycles of blame and pity, you communicate the most painful truth to a narcissist: they do not matter. This refusal to participate in their drama forces them to confront their own inadequacy, a reality they desperately try to avoid. Without access to your vulnerabilities, they spiral into frustration, unable to comprehend why their usual strategies no longer work. The more unwavering your detachment, the more miserable they become, trapped in their own unfulfilled need for validation. Boundaries are meaningless without enforcement, and consistency is key. A narcissist will relentlessly test your limits, probing for weaknesses, seeking cracks in your resolve. If you falter even once, they will seize upon it, manipulating you back into submission. However, when you hold firm, denying access to your time, emotions, and personal space, you force them into a position they detest: powerlessness. They despise being ignored, rejected, or treated as an ordinary person rather than the superior being they imagine themselves to be. Every clear, unyielding boundary is a blow to their fragile ego, a mirror reflecting their inability to control you. The more you assert your independence, the more unhinged they become, revealing the desperate insecurity behind their facade of dominance. A narcissist's misery deepens when they realize you no longer believe their illusions. Their grandiose stories, self-serving narratives, and carefully curated personas crumble when met with skepticism. A simple refusal to accept their lies, whether through silence, factual rebuttals, or disengagement, disarms them completely. They loathe being questioned, especially by someone they once controlled, because it forces them to either abandon their manipulations or escalate their aggression, exposing their true nature. The more you embrace reality, the more distorted and absurd their behavior appears, making them look foolish in contrast to your calm composure. They are left grasping for control, unable to maintain the illusion that once kept you ensnared. Setting boundaries is not about punishing the narcissist, but about reclaiming your own peace. The less you react, the less control they have, and the more they spiral into the misery of their own making. They cannot comprehend a world where they are not the center of attention, where their manipulation is ineffective, and where someone they once dominated has slipped from their grasp. In In resisting their control, you embody the very essence of Stoic wisdom. You master your own mind, leaving them powerless, frustrated, and lost in the chaos of their own emptiness. Number 3. Expose their lies and manipulation. A narcissist thrives in a world where deception is power and manipulation is the currency of control. They weave their lies like a grand tapestry, expecting others to remain entangled, struggling for truth in the web of their deceit. Yet nothing unsettles them more than a mind that sees through the illusion and refuses to dance to their tune. When you expose their lies, not through rage or retaliation, but with calm, undeniable truth, they flinch. They cannot stand to be seen as anything less than infallible, yet they crumble when reality contradicts their carefully crafted facade. To call them out is one thing, but to do so with the unwavering clarity of someone immune to their gaslighting is an unbearable torment to their fragile ego. They want chaos, but nothing is more maddening to them than the serenity of someone who has seen the storm and chosen not to be swept away by it. A narcissist's control is rooted in perception, how others see them, how they see themselves, and how they twist reality to maintain their superiority. They expect their victims to react, to lash out, to engage in the emotional battles they orchestrate so masterfully. Yet what if one does not engage? What if their provocations meet a wall of unshakable indifference? To a narcissist, this is a living nightmare. They need validation even in conflict because it reassures them that they still hold influence. But when they are met with silence instead of outrage, logic instead of blind emotion, they flounder. A person who does not play the game cannot be controlled, and nothing is more miserable for a narcissist than the realization that they no longer have dominion over someone's mind. To strip a narcissist of their power, one must resist the urge to mirror their deceitful ways. They want you to become what they are, calculating, vengeful, reactive, so that they can point and say, "See? You are no better than me." But when you rise above, remaining steadfast in integrity, you create a chasm between their perception and reality, one that gnaws at them relentlessly. They will attempt to provoke, to bait you into a reaction that feeds their hunger for dominance, but the most potent retaliation is none at all. A narcissist cannot survive in an environment where their tactics are rendered useless, where the person they seek to torment simply will not bend. To be unmoved by their antics is to rob them of the very thing they crave: control. The truth, once illuminated, is something a narcissist can never fully extinguish. They may attempt to rewrite history, cast doubt, and shift blame, but when their manipulation is met with the unwavering presence of truth, they wither. There is a special kind of suffering reserved for those who are exposed yet unable to reclaim the illusion. Their fear is not in being wrong, but in being seen as wrong. And when those around them begin to see the cracks in their mask, when the people they once held captive in deception start to break free, the narcissist is left with nothing but the empty echoes of a kingdom crumbling from within. So, let them spin their webs, let them construct their false realities, but do not become ensnared. Let them drown in the silence of their own irrelevance. There is no need to fight, no need to seek revenge, because the greatest punishment for a narcissist is to be rendered powerless by someone who refuses to be controlled. To deny them the chaos they so desperately crave is to inflict upon them the very thing they fear most, insignificance. And in that they will find their greatest misery. Number 4, show indifference to their tactics. Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. Epictetus, the narcissist's world is one of constant manipulation, a chessboard where they attempt to maneuver everyone as pawns to maintain a sense of control. They are masters of emotional exploitation, stirring conflict and discord with one flick of a well-crafted comment. But there's one thing that rattles them more than anything else: indifference. When their tactics fall on a heart that simply does not respond, they are confronted with their own helplessness. They feed off the emotions of others, the outrage, the anger, the tears. And when they are met with a blank, unyielding wall of indifference, they are left with no fuel to continue the game. A narcissist thrives on the chaos they create in others. It is their stage, and they are the star. To ignore them is to remove them from the spotlight, leaving them alone in the dark with nothing but their empty performance. When a narcissist's efforts to provoke fall flat, they struggle to regain their grip on the situation. They need reactions. Without them, they feel like a balloon losing air. Their tactics, designed to make you feel small, guilty, or enraged, can only succeed if you give them power through emotional response. If you choose not to engage, not to rise to their bait, they are left grappling with their own frustration. They will try every trick in the book: guilt trips, insults, exaggerated stories of victimhood, but none of it lands. The more they push, the more you remain unmoved, and it begins to gnaw at them. Their mind is like a machine that thrives on attention, and when they realize that you've stepped out of their control, the gears start grinding, unable to process this new kind of resistance. Indifference doesn't mean passivity. It's an active choice to rise above their tactics with the power of self-awareness. The narcissist seeks to drag you into their world of distorted perceptions and self-centered narratives. They want to twist your reality, to make you second-guess yourself, to use your own emotions against you. But when you stand firm in the knowledge that their reality is not your own, their tricks lose their sting. They cannot manipulate you into feeling inferior when you know your worth. The less you indulge their games, the more their power diminishes. They can shout, they can criticize, they can fabricate lies, but if you do not acknowledge them, their words evaporate into thin air. This is the ultimate blow to a narcissist, to be ignored when they are used to being the center of attention. What truly unsettles a narcissist is not silence, but the peace that accompanies it. They are creatures of chaos, and peace, true, unshakable peace, is their antithesis. When you show them indifference, you rob them of the most potent weapon they have, your emotional response. Their manipulative tactics crumble under the weight of your composure. They know that you could engage, argue, or fight back, but you choose not to. The realization hits them that they cannot control you, no matter how hard they try. This absence of reaction, the complete disregard for their feeble attempts at manipulation, is like a mirror reflecting their own helplessness. They are left to face their own emptiness, knowing that no amount of theatrics can sway you. In a world where most people are drawn into the drama that narcissists create, there's an unmatched power in indifference. You don't need to fight fire with fire or wage an emotional war to defeat them. You simply refuse to play. By not giving them the energy they so desperately seek, you rob them of their weapon. Their power is derived from your engagement, and when you cease to engage, their influence shrinks, leaving them weak, exposed, and utterly powerless. The narcissist thrives on conflict, but when they are met with nothing but the still waters of indifference, they drown in their own frustration, powerless and irrelevant in the face of someone who refuses to be manipulated. Number 5, succeed without them. It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Epictetus. To a narcissist, the most unbearable truth is that their influence can be replaced. They crave power, control, and admiration, and when they find themselves overshadowed, it's like a sharp dagger to their ego. The ultimate way to make a narcissist miserable is not to confront them head-on, but to succeed without them. Imagine achieving your goals, your dreams, and your desires, not with their approval, but in spite of their attempts to hold you back. Each success, every milestone, is a testament to the fact that their need to control your journey has failed. As you rise, they watch helplessly, trying to sabotage or belittle, but you stand unshaken, thriving without their involvement. This silent victory is the kind of defeat that cuts deeper than any argument or confrontation could ever reach. The narcissist believes they are the axis around which the world revolves, and when you begin to excel on your own, it shakes the very foundation of their inflated self-importance. They can no longer claim ownership over your achievements, and in their eyes, it is a direct assault on their sense of superiority. Their whole existence is based on the idea that others need them, rely on them, or are unable to stand tall without their assistance. So when you start climbing that ladder of success without ever looking to them for validation, their sense of control begins to slip away. They may try to minimize your accomplishments, belittle your efforts, or even dismiss your progress with a haughty remark. But each time you rise, you send a clear message: I do not need you. And to a narcissist, there is no deeper cut. Narcissists are expert manipulators. They thrive when others seek their guidance or approval, using the desire for success to their advantage. They subtly position themselves as the gatekeepers of achievement, telling you, you won't get far without me, or you need my expertise to succeed. But the beauty of success without them is that you learn to trust in your own abilities, in your own resilience, and in the strength that lies within. When you stop giving them power over your journey, the shackles fall away. They cannot define your worth nor your potential. You carve your own path, drawing strength from within and rejecting the false narrative they've tried to weave. As you succeed, their attempts to belittle you grow more hollow, and their words lose weight. They are left to stew in their own frustration, watching someone they once believed was beneath them soar to heights they never thought possible. Nothing frustrates a narcissist more than someone who thrives without seeking their approval or validation. They are used to being the ones who control the narrative, dictating who gets ahead and who falters. When you shatter that illusion, you challenge their entire worldview. It's a defeat they cannot accept, because it exposes the truth that their influence, however loud or dramatic, was never necessary. Success without them is a loud declaration that you are self-sufficient, resilient, and unyielding. You've learned that your value does not come from them, but from the strength and power you possess within. And for a narcissist, that's a truth they can't bear to face. In the end, success without a narcissist isn't just about career or personal achievements. It's about reclaiming your autonomy. Every step forward is a silent rebellion against their need for control. Every success is a reminder that they are not the architects of your happiness, that your journey does not need their validation. As you continue to thrive, they are left with nothing but the cold, harsh reality of their own irrelevance in your life. And there, in that quiet, inevitable success, you inflict the most profound misery upon them, the recognition that they are no longer needed, and that you, in all your brilliance, can soar without their help. Number 6. Keep them out of the spotlight. Narcissists are drawn to the spotlight like moths to a flame, needing to be the center of attention to feel validated. They feed off the admiration, the praise, the constant recognition. But nothing shatters a narcissist's sense of self-importance quite like being ignored or excluded from the spotlight they crave. The best way to make them miserable is to keep them out of the limelight, deny them the audience they so desperately seek. When you take the focus off them and place it on something else, something or someone far more deserving, they become restless, agitated, and eventually exposed. A narcissist's worst nightmare is the fear of being forgotten, overlooked, or irrelevant. This isn't just about avoiding giving them praise, it's about shifting the attention completely. Instead of letting them dominate the conversation, you direct it elsewhere. Focus on the accomplishments of others, the collective efforts, or even the quiet achievements that don't come with fanfare. In the workplace, let others have their moment in the sun. In social settings, give others the chance to shine. The narcissist may try to jump in, steer the attention back to themselves, or sulk in the corner, but when they are consistently kept out of the spotlight, they begin to panic. Without that constant validation, their carefully constructed image starts to crumble. They become agitated, often resorting to passive-aggressive behavior to draw attention back to them, but the more they struggle, the more they expose their vulnerability. What makes this tactic so effective is that a narcissist's sense of worth is intrinsically tied to how others view them. Without the applause, the validation, the constant adoration, they become unsure of their place in the world. In many ways, they rely on others' acknowledgement to validate their existence, and when that is stripped away, they feel unmoored. They might try to drum up drama, create chaos, or manipulate situations to grab the attention they so desperately need. But when you consistently refuse to play into their need for the spotlight, they are left powerless. They cannot control others' perceptions when those others are no longer focused on them. Keeping them out of the spotlight is not a matter of overtly shutting them down. It's more subtle than that. It's about creating space for others to thrive without giving in to the narcissist's desperate need for recognition. This creates a shift in the environment, making the narcissist realize that their dominance is no longer as unquestioned as it once was. It forces them to either adapt, learning that they do not need to be the center of every conversation, or to lash out in frustration, revealing their true nature to others in the process. By consistently keeping the narcissist out of the spotlight, you strip them of their power to influence, control, and manipulate. They thrive on being the focal point, and without that they become mere shadows, grasping at anything to regain their former glory. When they realize that the world can keep turning without their performance, that their value does not depend on others' attention, it chips away at their very sense of self. This quiet removal of their power can cause more turmoil than any confrontation or argument ever could. They are left to wrestle with the painful truth that they no longer have the hold they once believed they had. And for a narcissist, that is a reality they can't stand to face. Number 7. Hold them accountable. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Marcus Aurelius. Holding a narcissist accountable is a direct confrontation with their sense of entitlement, and it's an act rooted in self-respect. Narcissists have a tendency to believe that their actions should be above reproach, that they are exempt from the same standards of behavior they impose on others. However, the Stoic approach teaches us that we must not allow others, no matter how manipulative or self-centered, to define our values. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that the best form of revenge isn't retribution. It is to live in accordance with virtue, to stand firm in our own principles and demand the same respect from others. When you hold a narcissist accountable, you are not only asserting your worth, but also rejecting the idea that their behavior is acceptable. To hold a narcissist accountable is to challenge their entitlement in a calm and steady manner. It's not about anger or revenge, but about consistency in expectations. Narcissists thrive when they believe they can operate without consequence, when they can avoid facing the damage they cause. But a Stoic mind remains unmoved by their manipulations. Seneca once said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that things are difficult." This speaks to the courage needed to stand up to a narcissist. When you call them out, when you insist on honesty and integrity in your interactions, it requires a certain boldness that a narcissist is unprepared for. The difficulty is not in the confrontation, but in our own hesitation to challenge someone who thrives on control. When a narcissist manipulates, avoids responsibility, or places the blame on others, The Stoic response is to see through these tactics and insist on truth. Holding them accountable doesn't mean meeting them with aggression. Instead, it's about maintaining your composure and clarity. Marcus Aurelius also teaches us you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. The narcissist may try to provoke, gaslight, or disorient you, but by sticking to your values and demanding they own up to their actions, you strip away their ability to control your emotions. You assert that you will not be manipulated by their need to shift blame or avoid consequences. This steadfast commitment to integrity does not give the narcissist the satisfaction of seeing you falter. Instead, you hold them to the same standards of behavior you uphold for yourself. By doing so, you force them to confront the reality of their actions, something they are deeply averse to. Narcissists often hide behind lies and evasions, but when you remain unmoved by their excuses and firmly demand accountability, you present a mirror to their behavior, something they fear more than anything. It is an invitation for them to either rise to the challenge or reveal their true, ugly nature. Holding a narcissist accountable is a manifestation of Stoic discipline, the ability to act in accordance with virtue, regardless of external influence. As Seneca reminds us, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. The fear of confronting a narcissist may seem daunting, but once you do, you realize that it is far less painful than the continual erosion of your self-respect that comes from tolerating their behavior. When you hold them accountable, you break free from their manipulation, showing not only them but also yourself that you are no longer willing to accept the distortion of truth and decency. And in that space, you reclaim your peace, your autonomy, and your dignity. If you've made it this far, you're now armed with the tools to take control back from the narcissist in your life and make them miserable without lifting a finger in retaliation. The key isn't about fighting fire with fire, but about reclaiming your peace and protecting your emotional well-being. By mastering your reactions, detaching from their opinions, and setting firm boundaries, you shift the balance of power. The narcissist may try to manipulate, control, or twist the truth, but by staying grounded, calm, and confident, you expose their fragility and render their tactics useless. Remember, the most effective weapon you have is walking away with strength and dignity. When you stop feeding into their chaos and leave them to their illusions, you take back the control they've tried to steal from you. So the next time a narcissist crosses your path, don't react. Simply act with purpose, wisdom, and self-awareness. And as always, remember the power is in your hands. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that like button, share it with someone who might need it, and subscribe for more insightful content. Let's continue growing stronger together. Stay unshakable.